गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Hari Om, a very warm welcome to this series on one of the most popular and most beautiful text, Bhaja Govindam by Acharya Shankara. The focus of this text is education. You must be wondering, education already colleges and schools are doing. Why again? Here, the education is the subjective education. While the colleges, schools and other educational institutions out in the world deal with the objective education, objective knowledge. Here, the text deals with subjective knowledge. Talks about the most important part of our life, which is the very meaning of life and the very purpose of life. I remember somewhere during my first PU, while I was pursuing first PU, me and 3 of my friends, we went to one beautiful match, cricket match. I was not very keen on cricket. But then along with the friends, we all went. And in the stadium, so much of people I have never seen in my life. The stadium was jam-packed. It was a match between India and England. And then we all went, and my friends purchased few eats to eat during the match. And then the match started. So much of noise, so much of enthusiasm, so much of energy. While I see everyone in that condition, I find myself to be totally calm, not much enthusiastic. Why? The reason is because I did not know much about that match, much about the cricket match as such. Whenever a ball was hit, the whole stadium would uproar. I wonder, and the next ball, by the time the next ball is bowled, so much of time gap, people are walking, and this bowler is taking the ball and rubbing the ball. So much of time waste. So honestly, I did not much enjoy the match. And after the match was over, I was actually with full of headache and tired. It was very tired. Then when we came out, my friends were talking so much about it. I was wondering, what is all this about? And then once I read the beautiful statement by George Bernard Shaw. Cricket is a game where 11 fools are playing and 11,000 fools are watching. So I thought if George Bernard Shaw must have written such a statement, he must be right. Therefore, I was a good person. I did not get much involved. Later I came to know that George Bernard Shaw also was not interested in that cricket, and therefore when he was taken to the match, he sat down for such a long time, and when he came out, he made such a statement. What is the reason for such a statement when tens of thousands of people are in the stadium are enjoying the match? Probably if we can dramatize a little. After the match was over, George Bernard Shaw was a very, very famous, popular person. So let us say, according to the latest trend, media people went and asked him, what is your opinion about the match? So he must have said, 11 fools are playing and 11,000 fools are watching. Why? The only reason is he had no aptitude for the match, number one. And two, he did not know the rules of the match or the way of the match to be played. When you think about a football, there the question of wastage of time is not there, as though 1.5 hours match is over. That is another type of match. And those matches, the football match, there are people who have an aptitude towards football. There are people who have a lot of aptitude towards badminton. Badminton is also another type of match. To enjoy a particular game, two very important things are required. One, I must have an aptitude towards that match. And two, I must know the way the match is played, the rules of the match. Once I have an aptitude and I also come to know about the match, then it is easier for me to apply my mind there and derive the joy of that match. Similarly is life. Life, one must have an aptitude to have a successful life, and for that one must know the game of life properly, the rules of life properly. then you will find such a person who has understood life properly, who knows the game of life properly, who knows the rules of life properly, is able to derive so much of irresistible joy, enthusiasm in that very life. Otherwise, the same life will become very painful, very boring, very frustrating, tiresome, fatigue. Think. In the earlier series, we saw Vibhishanji was taught by Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji about what is the real chariot. There we saw Sauraj Dheeraj Terath Chaka Satyashila Dridha Bhaja Pataka Bala Vivekadam Aparahita Ghore Chama Kripa Samatara Jujore, where Ramchandraji explained what is the real chariot which can bring success in life. Similarly, here Bhaja Govindam is a very beautiful text which teaches us what should be the aptitude towards life, and it also teaches us what exactly life is and how we have understood that very life so wrongly that all of us are struggling with so much of frustration, fatigue, pain, suffering, etc. And in between just a few flashes of joy and seeking and searching those flashes of joy, we are pushing through our life. Like how in the match, not knowing about the match, one keeps on watching the time when the match is played without me in it. Similar example also can be drawn from our own experience from the educational institutions. There are 6 or 7 subjects which we have to attend. There are 1 or 2 subjects which are we have an aptitude. There are other 2-3 subjects which we don't like the subject. Then what happens? 40 minutes class for all the subjects equally, but the subjects which I don't like seems to be elongating itself. Whereas the other subjects which I have an aptitude for appears to be very short. We feel these subjects should have been a little longer. All these are nothing but expressions of our own mind. Bhaja Govindam gives us that, I would say, is an eye-opener for us to understand how we can make our life very enthusiastic and joyful, the outer world remaining the same. The difference here is we don't talk about the objective knowledge, we talk about the subjective knowledge. At the same time, the subjective knowledge is gained with the help of objective experience. Where my very vision towards the world changes. World remaining the same. My vision changes through gaining the knowledge from this beautiful text. Param Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji, very beautifully used to roar, refuse to die before the life ends. Our case is, we literally die every day even before the actual death comes. Reason? We are unable to face the challenges of life. We are unable to see the happenings of life with a beautiful mind, well informed. Therefore, here we have to gain that energy, education, enthusiasm, the heroism to face every challenge of life, and then you will find I am a very, 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 very happy person in spite of situations, not because of situations. I don't become a beggar in front of life for happiness. I supply happiness with no conditionings, no restrictions, unlimited joy. I am the very source. And this beautiful education is given in this wonderful text. Every human being, everybody have got what is called as intelligence. Everybody are supplied with this intelligence equally. Underline. Everybody are supplied with the intelligence equally. A few recognize it, a few use it, a few use it at the optimum level. And there are few who don't even recognize that they have a intelligence. Therefore, the very human life itself is a blessing. Durlabham trayamevaitat devanugraha hetukam manushyattvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshaya, says Vivek Chodamani. Manushyattvam, the very first blessing is taking a birth as a human being. We are already blessed. The other two, we have to earn. What? Mumukshutvam and Mahapurusha Samshaya. Mahapurusha Samshaya is actually something which will come once we gain the second one called Mumukshutvam. The moment my mind is ready to receive the knowledge, the teacher will come. So first one we have already got. Third one will come. So our focus is on Mumukshutvam. Having said that, all of us have got two options. One is we look at life as a destined phase or a phase with a free will for me to exercise. There are some people who go on saying, Swamiji, my fate, my prarabdha. And there are other people who are ready to change that out of their own intelligence and their own readiness to change. This is very important because a destined life is actually animalistic life. That animals, all the Pashu Pakshi, for them the life is destined. But a human life is a life which has been added with intelligence to take diversion. Take diversion meaning what? Take diversion towards the higher goal of life. And there he has been also blessed with a capacity to use his free will. This free will, when it is well educated, it gains the strength from that very education to change the direction towards the higher or change the direction towards the baser ways of life. This ability to choose between the two is given by Shastra. Shastra meaning what? The knowledge of the Shastras, when it is known and exercised properly, it can give us the right direction. But at the same time, let us be very clear, Shastras, scriptures becomes relevant only when I decide to exercise my free will. If there is a person who does not believe in free will, who is only thinking about destiny and go on cribbing in life, for such people, Shastras are not relevant. Shastras become relevant only when I choose to direct myself towards a chosen destination. There are two types. One is the infinite goal and the other one is the finite goal. There are two types of destinations. What do you mean by finite and infinite? According to the Shastra, the subjective goal is infinite goal, the infinite. What is that? It has been termed as Bhagavan, God, reality, truth, Ishvaraha. And in the language of the Shastra, it is called as Shreyas. And the other goal, rather goals. In case of infinite goal, it is only one goal, one ultimate, which is called by different names like Bhagavan, God, reality, truth, Shreyas. The infinite goals are millions. Isn't it true? From the childhood, every moment my goal changes. Is it not? Every moment my goal changes. Every day my goal changes. And the best part is, every day we don't have one goal. We have several goal posts. Is it not? All around me there are goals. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. I might be happier this way, I might be much happier that way. If I get this, I will be happy. If I don't get this, I will not be happy. And the moment I get this, again my goal changes. Why? I have already got that. So there is no end for finite goals. And finite goals are actually very easy to gain. You have to put in a little bit of work and you will get it. But once I get those finite goals, then what? Mind looks for another goal, another finite goal. The whole life runs in the same way, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Wild goose chase. And having gained all of them, are we really happy? In fact, one particular goal I pursue, by the time I reach the destination, my goal has changed. And the best part is, one goal is in this direction, another goal is in this direction. I start pursuing and in between I change my goal. And I turn this way and by the time I go to that goal, my goal is changed another direction. Finally, we are neither here nor there. Think. Thus we find at the fag end of life, you have so many people, Swamiji, my life is over. Meaning what? They have no life at all. They have been dying every day. For what? For this goal or that goal. Therefore, this particular text actually narrows down the options and gives man a beautiful, wonderful destination, gaining which nothing more needs to be gained. The whole text, Bhaja Govindam, is actually based on a mantra of Kathopanishad. In the Kathopanishad, there is a very beautiful mantra which says, Shreyascha Preyascha Manushyametaha Tau Samparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha Shreyohi Dhirobhi Preyaso Vrinite Preyo Mando Yogakshemat Vrinite. What is that? Manushyam etaha. There are two goals for him. What is that? Shreyaha, Preyaha. And Vivinakti Dhiraha Samparitya. Samparitya meaning having analyzed both of them, having scrutinized both of them, having beautifully gone through the pros and cons of both of them. What are they? Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas is the path of good, and Preyas is the path of pleasure. What is the difference? Pleasures are those which comes and goes. And the best part is, I am sure you will agree with this statement. When I say prayers are those which comes and goes, most of the time, if not all of the time, all times, it as though comes. By the time it comes, it has gone. It doesn't reach us also properly. Yes or no? Prayers does not come very often. But when it comes, it stays with us. Shreyas is such a goal which is called as good. Why is it called as good? It is because it leads us towards the highest. It takes our mind away from the petty, paltry, impermanent, meaningless, worthless goals of life and directs us towards that which is eternal, that which is permanent. But the difference here is you have to work towards it. In terms of prayers, it gives instant pleasure. When it comes to Shreyas, it does not give instant pleasure, but it gives permanent happiness. But because it does not give instant pleasure, mind, for what it is, seeks for all those small, petty, instant pleasure and sacrifices the beautiful path which leads us to permanent happiness. While I am pursuing those small instant pleasures one after the other, you will find there is a gap between two pleasures and the gap is actually more. So the number of pleasures what I actually get is very less. Whereas when I pursue the path of Shreyas, once the happiness is gained, it is eternal happiness. There is no gaps. There are no gaps. Think. Therefore, Shastra is for those who look forward to that permanent happiness. Shastras is relevant. It makes sense only to those who want permanent happiness and who has given up, factually speaking, who have given up validating the things and beings of life. Person who has taken up Shreyas is ready to give up, sacrifice the petty pleasures and And the one who chooses prayers has sacrificed that which will give permanent happiness. Now see, between these two, very interesting point, very important point. Please be attentive. Between these two, even the pleasures that come and go in the path of Shreyas many times gives only pain. Whereas in the path of Shreyas, pain also becomes a pleasure. It's a very interesting point. We require to deeply analyze these two. In the path of Shreyas, pleasure also turns to become pain, whereas in the path of Shreyas, pain also is a pleasure. How do I say so? We will take the example of a football game. What is this football game? The player in the football game has to prepare his physical body, his emotional mind, his rational thinking as to how he has to play the game there. For months or years together, he has to prepare his body, the stamina, the strength for playing that particular game. He has to be very disciplined in his diet. He has to be very disciplined in his warm-up exercises. Every day he has to run miles together. He cannot have all the other pleasures also. All that he prepares himself. Emotionally he is attached to it, no doubt. Right? He has to prepare. And intelligence is used as to how to navigate the ball towards the goal post. Right? And the best part, most important part in football, for example, I have the ball in my hand and I know the goal post which side, and I should know which side I have to take the ball, not on the opposite direction. Right? And while I am navigating my ball towards the goal, it is not a free game. Okay, you go and put there. Nobody will ask me, the opponents will not ask me, you want to go there, okay, go put it and bring the ball again. No. The moment I want to start my game, there will be 8 people coming from all directions to grab the ball from me. Is it not? How many times players fall down, their legs are, they get bruised. In some cases, even fractures take place. Is it not? Yet, they sweat like a pig. They sweat. Is it not? They stink. You can't go near them. Once the game is over, when they come out, you can't go anywhere near them. Why? Because they are sweat all through. Running, dashing, and every time the opponent will push them, they have to fall, their blood might ooze out. None of them affects the player. Why? His total attention is on taking this ball and putting it into the goal post. Once the game is over, once he has won that football match, he has put the ball into the goal. What an amount of joy! Think. He might be bleeding. He is sweating. He is tired physically. In spite of all that, he says, beautiful game. Yes or no? Think. Which means what? He has no concern for all this pain or something, but his focus is on reaching the goal. This is path of Shreyas in terms of spiritual life. While we are leading the spiritual life, if our goal is to reach that infinity, if our goal is to reach that supreme, then the path might have several problems. The path might actually kick you. Life will kick you. Even otherwise it does. Even if you are on the path of prayers, it kicks you and it will not reach you anywhere. Whereas in path of Shreyas, it appears as though life kicks you. It appears as though life is pushing you down. It appears as though I am hurt. But I remain unperturbed by all those which are happening around me, because my focus is on taking this ball of life to the goal post, which is infinite. Therefore, I need to know this game properly. I must have the aptitude to surpass all the difficulties, and I must be able to reach that goal without getting dissipated, distracted, dejected, diverted from the path towards the goal. In Bhaja Govindam, Acharya Shankara gives us two very important knowledge. The first knowledge is most important: why we are unable to be happy permanently. Why are we suffering in this life? Can life make me happy? Can life make me sad? What power does the world have to make me happy or sad? Or is it something else that brings happiness or sadness in my life? All these are beautifully dissected, bisected by Acharya Shankara. A text which will actually clean the spectacle of life. What do we do with this spectacle? We clean this spectacle so that I can see properly. I don't change the world, but I clean the dirt in my spectacle. Similarly, Bhaja Govindam is a beautiful text which uses the solution called knowledge to clean up this medium called spectacle, where my vision of the world remaining the same. Remember? World remaining the same, my vision is corrected. My vision of life is made more clearer through the knowledge gained out of this wonderful text, Bhaja Govindam. Acharya Shankara brings it so vividly, so vividly. How do I say it so vividly? Because all of us are going through that phase of getting kicked by the fancies of the world. All of us are being bruised by all the happenings of the world. All of us are fractured by our own wrong thinking, wrong contact, and wrong decisions. If we can keep ourselves open, if we can keep our vision open, if we can take that particular step to get the solution of knowledge and clean the vision, then our life is directed towards Shreyas. If not correcting my spectacle, if I try to see the world will look totally blurred. World will look totally dissipated, totally dirty. And then we will only complain. Swamiji, you don't know the problem. Look at the politics. And today, supplied free. All over the world we have problems. Tell me where we don't have. Right from United States politics to Indian politics, there are only issues. Think. And not only there, everywhere there is politics. Even in family level there are politics. What to talk of national level? Is it not? Therefore, what is required now is to correct my vision. Let anything happen in the world. Let anybody be the way they want. How am I bothered? Think. So, another very important lesson that Bhaja Govindam teaches is stop looking outside. Gurudev used to say, you take a U-turn. You take a U-turn. Meaning, now you are going away, take a U-turn and go towards yourself within you. And our goal needs to be verified, scrutinized. Now what are our goals? Make a list. You can't complete that list. Even if you open a laptop and then start listing a goal in a worksheet, you know the amount of, try to go to the last line of the worksheet. That many goals we have. Think. For several lives it doesn't end. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Bahunam janmanamante. After thousands and millions of life, we are all blessed to have this human life. And how more blessed can we be to have such great acharyas who are directing us towards the goal? Now, it's a very interesting point. It's just now I am thinking about it. I have an acharya here. I have an acharya here. I have Bhagavan out above me. Everywhere there are possibilities for us to reach. But where am I? We are all walking outwards. Think. So all of them are asking us to take a U-turn and go within. While going within, analyze and scrutinize as to what I have done all these days and have they given me that happiness? If you ask, you will only reach a state of pessimism. While Acharya talks about all the flaws of life, while Acharya talks about all the flaws in our seeking the goal, you will find Acharya is not turning us to be a pessimist. We must not mistake Acharya to be a pessimist or a sadist. We must understand the optimism in Acharya to teach even people like me to gain this knowledge so that I can reach that infinite goal, infinite happiness, and give up, sacrifice all the smaller pleasures of life to reach the higher. It is not being pessimist, it is being optimist, even to change every single one of us, change the direction towards the higher, which we will see from tomorrow. I am sure all of you have got the text of Bhaja Govindam. It is available in the internet everywhere, but the only thing is there are a lot of versions. So we will try to put it up today in the WhatsApp group. We will try to send the text. Those who are not in our WhatsApp group, please register. You will get the text through the WhatsApp. All you need to do is register in your phone. The number I will just pronounce the number now. Please save it as Sadhana Mandira and send a message. Please send the text of Bhaja Govindam. One message you type and send it to that number, and you will get the text on your phone, and you will be able to see through it from tomorrow. A better option is that you take a print out of the text so that you can have the print and use the phone for watching this class. Alright, we will meet tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om